Hey, this is William Floyd, bar none, and you're listening to Matt and Dexter Carter on The Grueling Truth.
Garoppolo, deep down the middle, that's a lift-off. Shanahan and Jimmy, Bill in Montana. Speaking for the Empire, salute from Santana. Yeah, handoff, down the middle. Beast through the D-line and made him look brittle. Out of nowhere, Sherman in the corner. 60 other way, huh? Kings of California. Every breath, tribute to the greatest. Dwight Clark in our heart since the catch when he made it.
As we build, brick by brick, no imitation, just be patient while we reppin' them numbers. We are the 49ers. Who are we? We're the 49ers.
Welcome, everybody, to the 49ers Weekly Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. Brought to you by Replenishing Care Technologies, the future in sports medicine. Check it out at thegruelingtruth.com. I'm one of your co-hosts, Matt Andruscavage, and I'd like to welcome in our other co-host, former 49ers running back, Super Bowl 29 champion, Dexter Carter. Dexter, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Matt. Great to be here, especially after our first game 49er win to start 2019 off. So, hey, it's a great day to have a show.
Yes, it's nice to have a victory show. We haven't had many of those.
That's right. You know, especially, whenever, you come out with the win and your quarterback don't play his best, your supposed starting receiver doesn't, get as many snaps as the guys that, actually played well. But Pettis, the coach is expecting him to play. But, when you have 3 touchdowns negated with penalties and turned the ball over twice and didn't really have a sharp performance from Garoppolo, as I stated, and still come out and have a 31-17 win in this hot, humid, Florida weather, I think that's a good way to move forward because everybody has something to work on at this point. So if you can win and still work on those things to get better, there's always a good second week of the football season because you got to win and you got things to work on. So the 49ers, I think, to start out 1-0 is a great thing.
Definitely. You know all about that Florida heat. I'm sure you could tell all kinds of stories of the humidity, perhaps during some training camps and some games. So you got to, I'm sure you could tell everybody just how nasty the conditions must have been.
Absolutely. When you play in Florida with the humid and heat that exists, it's a built-in advantage for Tampa Bay. And for, that beautiful weather that San Francisco plays in and practices in there in Santa Clara, San Francisco area. It's a cool breeze, looking at the mountains. It's about 71 every day. You don't have to worry about that humidness. But, when you can come in and regardless of how you get that win, you're thankful to get it. And to be able to move forward 1-0, it's a good start. So Kyle Shanahan, I'm sure he left stating, you know what, man, we got a lot of stuff to work on. Our players didn't play their best. Now, there are some that did because I thought that defensive line, played extremely well. I thought they put pressure on Winston and was able to pretty much get a great start the way we thought that line should be. Man, those 7 guys plus on that defensive line are as good as we thought they were. And the secondary, I thought, played well. I thought Sherman played well. Got away with a passing interference there at the end. But the thing about it is it wasn't it wasn't a game determining, interception, which surprised me that they didn't,
I was surprised about that too.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's interesting. And it came from the guy that missed that call in the Rams New Orleans game. So I'm not really sure how he sees, or maybe he's interpreting the videos and how they're taught to read these things. Maybe he's interpreting it wrong, but they might have to take him back to the drawing board because at some point, if he keeps making calls like that, it's going to impact a team later in the season that has playoff implications, and it's going to hurt a team that shouldn't be hurt the way it did New Orleans. So that's interesting. I just hope it doesn't come back to hurt the 49ers in the future, just in case a call like that is made.
Yeah, let's talk about the penalties a little bit because I really felt the defense carried the day for the 49ers. There's no doubt about that. The offense was good enough, but
Right.
Definitely had a lot to clean up. But let's talk about the penalties. You start off the game, talk a little bit about the special teams as well. On the first drive, Tampa Bay goes 3 and out, and We get a special teams block punt, which was huge. And I'm going to try to pronounce his name. This is the one player on the team. I'm not sure how his name is pronounced. Mark Zenocha, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. Special teams standout, and he was the backup linebacker after Quan Alexander got hurt, or not got hurt, got ejected from the game. He blocked the punt early. Niners drive right down the field, and we think we've got a touchdown to George Kittle to open up a 7-0 lead. And what a weird penalty they call on offensive PI on Kyle Juszczyk, who made a beautiful block, and the defender, just the guy who was going to cover Kittle, was completely out of position, and he just runs into his own guy, and they call PI on Juszczyk. I thought that was a just completely ridiculous play. And if the Niners get off to a 7-0 lead, that would have done a lot for Jimmy's confidence, and who knows how the game would have shaken out the rest of the way with a 7-0 lead.
That is true, but Garoppolo has got to be able to overcome those negative things and continue to play well and lead this team. So, it's a progression for him. And, again, he's just going into his second year. First year, of course, was cut short with the injury. But, he's still got a lot of growing to do even himself. So, but in the future, he cannot let that affect his performance moving forward, because you got a whole team, coaching staff, an organization that, one, is looking for his guidance and leadership. And eventually, I think he'll overcome that. But you're right. The penalty to pull, to negate that first touchdown. I mean, it dissipates and just, discourages everybody, but it's got to be momentarily. It's got to, oh, darn. And then you got to pick it up and go into the next play. And you're talking about the block punt. And I tell you what, that kid, that young man that actually, came in and took over after the ejection, I thought he played well.
He did.
He played really well. So, that's experience that he didn't expect, that I think will help the depth moving forward, on that defense, on that second level in the linebacker spot.
Yeah, Zenocha played pretty well. He got an interception after Alexander's ejection. So that was really good. But it seemed like on the offense and even sometimes on the defense, a big play would be made and it would just be negated by a penalty. I couldn't even cheer after they got the, in the second half when Garoppolo threw the touchdown to Richie James on a just gorgeous pass. And they took the lead. I couldn't even cheer right away because I'm just sitting here waiting for the flag. And then on Richard Sherman's pick six, I'm like, yes, but is there a flag? And I have my cheer is delayed because you're just waiting for that blasted yellow graphic, because it seemed like every single time, like you said, a penalty would happen, or maybe Garoppolo would throw not the greatest pass in the world, and you can watch him shake it off, come right back the next play, make a big play, and then it's negated by a penalty. It just seemed to be the whole story of the first half.
Yeah, and I think that will clean itself up. Again, is we can see past that when the penalties happen, negates a good play or touchdown, and you still win the game. It makes moving forward a little bit easier. So those things will be focused on, will be worked on during this week. And I promise you they will get straightened out, because one, if they don't, they won't be playing as much. You look at the snaps that this entire team got, man, it was a lot of snaps, especially even with the young guys. Deebo Samuels had like 60 snaps, just to throw a number out there. That's pretty freaking good for a rookie, and which means that experience is very, very important. And with that experience as an entire team, the penalties will lessen. Now, if they don't, that's just undisciplined, and that comes from leadership from the top. So I think they'll get a hand on that this week.
Yeah, I think so too. It was good to see Deebo Samuel out there. There was a mishap where it looked like offensive tackle Mike McGlinchey kind of ran into him and knocked the ball out at the end of the first half. But I liked what I saw out of Deebo. The offense was not extremely flashy. But besides the one throw, the pick six, which he said was just a terrible decision, overall he had a good day. It was not a really bad statistical day. He had 166 passing yards, over 60% completion percentage, the one touchdown on a really nice throw to Richie James, and then he did have that one interception. But so he knows he's got a lot to work on. It wasn't a bad day, but it also was not a great day. The running game had its troubles against Tampa, which I thought was a pretty underrated, at least run defense on Tampa. They got some good defenders over there, so hopefully they can win some more battles going forward in the run game. So we didn't see a whole lot from the offense, but we did get enough production to win the game.
Yes, and I don't know if there should be even any game balls given offensively. Just being honest.
Yeah, I agree.
Because when you look at 166 passing yards, and then now the running back position. Now, I was disappointed when McKinnon, continues to have the knee issue. Man, that's disappointing. I don't know what the extent of Tevin Coleman's injury is, but Matt Breida continues to show that he can play.
Yeah.
The yardage wasn't huge, but Matt Breida and Mostert, man, I'm telling you, I like those guys.
Me too.
If we had all four of them, oh my goodness, they would be dangerous if we can get all of them healthy. But I think we're still in good hands in that running back, position to do what Cal Shanahan wants them to do in that offense. But yeah, it was nothing to rave about. But again, when you win, you score 31 points in a win, and you have the touchdowns called back that were called back. Man, I think
3 of them.
You should be excited moving forward. As long as we can continue to let's not have any more injuries, but continue to progress as an offense. Defense, I'm telling you, defense, I think, man, they're going to be one of the best, in the NFC. But offensively, we've got to pick our game up. We're lucky to get by that first game with the win, but I think we will get better. We just got to stay healthy.
Yeah, exactly. So I would agree. I think that obviously the story of the day is the defense. Despite all the offensive woes, the penalties, everything, the defense, they lose their probably their big fiery leader in Quan Alexander to an ejection, which at first I was stunned. I did not know that was the rule. I thought you get a warning on a play like that, but I guess that is the rule if there is a really egregious helmet to helmet. And you could tell he's not trying to hurt the guy, but it did happen. And according to the rule, they unfortunately had to make the right call and ejected from the game. His presence was definitely missed, but I did like that Zanocha stepped up. I thought Fred Warner played pretty well. They were having some problems on the ground early on, but they got it cleaned up, and the pass rush was on point. It took a little while for it to get started, but once it got going, Bosa and D Ford kept meeting at the quarterback. We saw pressures from Armstead, from Solomon Thomas, from DeForest Buckner, from Ronald Blair. It looked like the whole unit was able to play pretty well, and that really helped the secondary. The secondary was able to get 2 interceptions because one was by a linebacker. We saw 2 pick sixes, a fumble recovery, and the defense had 3 sacks. So that was just a lot to be excited about on the defense. And as far as game balls go, they ended up giving Quan Alexander the game ball. So it was all on the defensive side of the ball.
Absolutely. And you know what? As you said, Forrest Buckner and that whole defensive line, they just wreaked havoc.
Yes.
Tampa and Winston really couldn't get anything going. But we've talked about it literally for a few years on that line, all those guys, on what the possibilities were, because they were drafting good guys.
Yeah.
And, that they just had to continue to develop, and their development would predicate how good that secondary would get, regardless of who they had back there. But Sherman, in my opinion, finally being healthy.
Yes.
I believe that Achilles, I think it literally took him longer than expected, but he's playing as if, he's truly healthy. But that defensive line doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt the pressure they're putting on, having that secondary look really, really good. But they both are, in my opinion, potentially really, really good this year in that linebacker corps. Of course, that they're developing Warner and those guys there. So I think this defense has a chance to be really, really good, and it gives the offense a chance. If it's going to take Garoppolo a little longer, to get gelled with everybody, you know what, that defense will help it. But Garoppolo and them need to speed it up, because we've got the players to make it happen, and we got the play caller to make it happen.
Yep, no doubt about it. There's just a lot. There's a lot to like about this game. It was a stressful game, but we saw a lot of good things. And like you said, when you can have that many mistakes and you still come away with a 31-17 win, that's a good thing. And the other thing I like to say about the secondary was it was really good to see Ahkello Witherspoon not just get the pick six that sealed the game, but he had some really good knockdowns in big spots. I mean, Mike Evans was only held to like 2 catches. It was a really good performance overall by the defense, and so hopefully the defense can continue to play well. They got a great opportunity against Cincinnati because they've got a very, very shaky offensive line. We'll get into the Cincinnati preview, but I'm really excited about this defense.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to, this matchup also because I really like what Cincinnati was able to do. Now, they lost,
Yeah,
but they played really, really well. I mean, Dalton is playing well. They've got playmakers at receiver. Finally, the receiver, the fast kid from
John
Washington.
Ross.
Oh, Ross. Oh, man. He stepped up big, and finally, he's healthy, and he's showing that he's worthy of that first, pick, for Cincinnati. So it's going to be a challenge for the secondary. But again, the secondary is playing well. And I think that defensive line is going to get to Dalton. But it's going to be a good game. Hopefully, we'll eliminate the penalties, on both sides of the ball and special teams and have a good quality game because both teams, in my opinion, are made for a game like this right here. Get the second week started off real great, no penalties, execute, and may the best team win. And I think it's going to be a good game.
Yep, I agree. This game actually makes me a little bit more nervous than it did maybe on Monday because the more I looked at what they were able to do against Seattle, like you said, the offense actually played pretty well. They're without A.J. Green. Joe Mixon had kind of a scary ankle injury, but he's not going to be out long term. There is an outside chance he could play this Sunday against the 49ers, but even if he's not there, Gio Bernard is a pretty good running back.
Absolutely.
And so it's still going to be a test for the defense because, like you said, John Ross, they got Tyler Boyd. They've got some good players over there. They can't take anything for granted. The key to the game to me is going to be pressuring Andy Dalton, just kind of like last week was pressuring Jameis Winston. If they can get in Andy Dalton's face, if the defensive ends can meet at the quarterback, there's a really good opportunity for interceptions there. And you got to make them one-dimensional.
I think so too, but Dalton just gives me, if I'm a Cincinnati Bengal, it gives me a little more confidence than what the Buccaneers have in Winston. I think Dalton will realize, and he will look at film this week, and he will realize that pressure is a great possibility on the majority of plays. I think he's going to step up. I think he's going to get the ball to his running backs quickly. They're going to run intermediate routes to get the ball out, and I think the 49ers have to defend it. I think they will, but I think it's not going to be, that easy. They're going to have to be consistent. And they're going to have to eliminate, the defensive pass interference penalties.
Yep.
But this week, I think bat downs, knockdowns is even better than interceptions because he's going to get the ball out quickly. He's a porous quarterback, and I think he's a proven commodity.
Yep. Andy Dalton is a good quarterback. I think he's underrated, especially if he's got any kind of time at all. He as shown last week, I think he had 400 yards passing. So it's going to be a challenge. I don't think the Niners have any kind of gimme here. I think I did after Sunday, after when I heard Joe Mixon might not play, but the more I looked at stuff that they did in Seattle, it's not Marvin Lewis anymore. It's a new regime. So it's going to be a tough game. So on the offensive side of the ball, Jimmy Garoppolo's got to have time. The Bengals defensive line is pretty good with Geno Atkins and Carlos Dunlap. They're pretty deep on that line. Now the linebackers are shaky, but the pass rush is pretty good. The offensive line has to play well. Garoppolo's got it. He's just got to play better than he did against Tampa. They've got to get that offense going. They got to involve some more receivers and the running backs. And I want to see Matt Breida run outside because he had all his success against Tampa Bay when they got it outside rather than run him into the line. So hopefully we'll see some of that and not a lot of penalties. I do think the Niners have a great chance to win this game, but I do think it'll be a difficult game.
Absolutely. And, as you said, Matt Breida is well capable of just being successful, getting the ball. I think hitting it hard, getting those hard yards inside. but you're right. Outside is his thing. So I think we're going to be fine there. I think what Shanahan is looking for in his receiver position, because I think playing Debo and all the guys at receiver that he did, and I heard didn't play, which, you
Right.
know, is okay because we got some really, really good guys. But there's gonna come a time where his play is gonna be very, very important. But right now, I think Shanahan wants Pettis to step up to the plate, because even as good as Debo played, Kyle said it's definitely not Debo's job. Now, for him to say that, I think he's trying to keep the young rookie in his place, not as a negative thing, but I think it's more of trying to get Pettis to step up to the plate. Man, we're trying to, not give it to you, but you showed the ability last year to be the starter now. So step up to the plate. So I think Pettis has been under the microscope, after his rookie season. He showed tremendous promise, and he missed 4 games with the knee injury.
Yes, he did.
And Shanahan still, is trying to say, come on, man, step up, take the job. So hopefully, he'll step up and perform well, and Debo will keep getting better, and all these other guys that played. Bourne and, Goodwin obviously is who he is. Richie
Right.
James Jr. got a lot of snaps. In Tampa, when it's hot, it's great to give all those guys reps, but it's creating better depth. So these guys have got to continue to step up, play well, and let Garoppolo know, hey, if you get open, I'm going to get you the ball. So I'm looking forward to more production from the receiver group.
Yeah, me too. I thought, from what I read, I thought Pettis only had a couple of snaps, and that wasn't intentional by Shanahan, but he only had 1 catch on the day. I know that he is looking for Pettis to step up. We need more out of Goodwin, and there were a couple of times, I will say, even though Garoppolo had an efficient day, there were a couple of throws that were behind the receiver, and so that's got to get cleaned up. Can't have a pick six. So hopefully the passing game will greatly improve, and we should see a little bit more from the offense. So I'm looking forward to an all-around just better game from everybody, and hopefully a lot less penalties, and maybe they can come up with a pretty good victory here.
I believe you will see exactly what you just stated, because in Kyle Shanahan's method of coaching, especially his offense, they're going to get better. They're going to get better. And again, it all goes back to me. You're 1-0. You have a whole lot of reasons to make that 3,000-mile flight back just more peaceful, excited, and make this whole week, a better preparation week. So, again, the offense is there as far as what the system is. He's got the right players in his system, and he is a genius at play calling, in my opinion, aside from, that second half of, the Super Bowl with Atlanta, but that's another story for another day. I'm glad he got that out of his system. So when 49ers make it to the Super Bowl, you know what?
That won't happen.
He's going to pound it on the ground. You got a big lead, so let's pound it on the ground, throw, when we need to, and preserve that, big lead. But anyway, he's our guy. I have tremendous confidence in him. And I think it's going to be a good week, but they have to have a good week because they've got a big challenge this week with Cincinnati.
So there you have it, folks. 49ers at the Bengals this Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern time. So hopefully they are going to come away with a win and be 2-0 heading into their home opener next week against Pittsburgh. So I just want to thank everybody for listening today. Hopefully everybody gets a good chance to watch the game and enjoy the 49ers. Hopefully we get another win, and we'll be back next week, hopefully with another victory show. So just want to again thank everybody for listening. Check out thegruelingtruth.com, and we will catch you next week. So for Dexter Carter, I'm Matt Andruscavage. You've been listening to the 49er Weekly Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network, where the legends speak.